We live in a complex world. So, what could a 17th century Jesuit who was born and raised in a small wine producing community in the southwestern part of France have to say that would be useful to us today? You're about to find out in this short devotional from the Littleton United Methodist Church. If you're like a lot of people, your mind and your body are often not in the same place at the same time. Often, your body may be where it is, like how my body may be right here in this chair, right in front of the plant window right now, but that doesn't mean my brain is right here right now. It could be all sorts of different places. And quite often, people's minds are on tomorrow, or on the future, or on a long term. They are so busy living in the dream of tomorrow, the hope of tomorrow, or maybe the fear of tomorrow, the anxiety and dread of tomorrow, that they really can't enjoy today. You may be like that. I mean, there's certainly enough going on in our world to cause a heightened level of anxiety. With our jobs, with our careers, with our savings, with just so many things we do, we are looking for tomorrow. And for some of us, we're looking for a bright day, and for some of us, we're kind of gloomy and hesitant to enter tomorrow. But whatever the case, our brains and our bodies are not the same place. Now, for some of us, we're living in yesterday. We're living in the glories of the past, the remembrances of the past. And, it seems to me like the memories of the past just sort of get exaggerated in the present. Like the good things that happened, I hear those stories over and over again. And as I once said in our pulpit not long ago, sometimes I can't remember if I'm remembering the event or the story about the event. But whatever it is, I kind of embellish those. But sometimes we live in the bad things of the past. That is, we live with regret. We live with a sense of failure. We live with thinking about the things that we didn't do well. And we carry a lot of remorse with us today over what happened yesterday or the day before. Well, like the person that is always looking for tomorrow, the person that is always looking in the past, the two things they have in common is they cannot be in the present because they're so consumed by the past or by the future, by yesterday or tomorrow. The irony of all of this is that yesterday doesn't exist except in our minds. And of course, in the ripples that yesterday caused that are still affecting us today. And tomorrow doesn't really exist except in our minds. And of course, the things we do today may affect tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't exist. Yesterday doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the here and now, today. Tomorrow will exist. Yesterday did exist. But what does exist is the here and now, the one place where we aren't. The old 17th century Jesuit, Jean-Pierre de Caussade, he wrote a phrase that's been meaningful to me. It's a simple phrase. There are two phrases that he penned that have stuck with me. One I'm dealing with now, one I'll deal with in the future. But he spoke of or wrote of the sacrament of the present moment. That is, being here while I'm here. No matter how proud I am of yesterday or how embarrassed I am of yesterday, it's gone. What I have to give to my Lord is here, is now. What I have to give to my family is here, is now. Now, God is everywhere. There is no place that is beyond the reach of God, unlike me. And so as we go through life, the air we breathe, the minutes of the day, the seconds that tick by, in the good places, in the bad places, God is everywhere. But there are some places that we seem to feel God's presence more than others. There are some times that we feel God's presence more than others. It's a paradox. There is no place there where God is not, and yet there are places that seems like God is more there, or we feel his grace more there. Now, many of those places are when the Church of Jesus Christ gets together and in the name of Christ extends, as Christ taught us to, sacraments, communion, baptism. The Roman Catholic Church has 7 sacraments. Most Protestants have a couple of sacraments. Some call them ordinances rather than sacraments. But whatever we call them, for all of us, there are times that God seems more real than at other times. Well, that's what Jean-Pierre de Caussade was talking about when he talks about the sacrament of the present moment. That there is no reason why, unless you're driving a car and you don't run into a tree, but this moment, this second, right now, is a place where God's presence, the presence of his Holy Spirit is surrounding us, and where the grace of Jesus Christ is poured out, and where we can spend time with God. It could be in the darkest place or the brightest place on earth, but where you are right now, God is there. And why put off or wait, but live in this sacrament of God's grace in this present moment. Be aware of it as you go through the day, that God is with me, that this moment is special, that what came before, is gone. What will come is not yet. But now at this moment, God and I are together in this place. Even as I'm giving this little devotion right now, It's sort of sacramental in a sort of a way. I'm not saying it's one of the ordained sacraments of the church or anything, but it's sacramental in that God's presence is here. And God and I together are sharing a devotion with you. And you are in the presence of God. Sometimes people say they just can't, understand. They just can't give themselves totally to God, that it's just too tough to be a Christian. That's maybe a misunderstanding, because yesterday doesn't count. Tomorrow doesn't count. Not right now. What counts now is, can you at this moment say, God, I'm yours. I know you're here. I usually end with a little bit of a blessing, and I think I'll just say today, may the reality of this moment of God's presence be with you and strike you in a profound way. May He grace your life today, now.